What's up, and welcome to 5280 Film Room.
We're a Colorado sports podcast by fans for fans.
Please subscribe, rate, and review, and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
You can also email us your input, questions, and ideas at 5280filmroom@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening. What's up, Colorado sports fans? Thank you so much for tuning in to 5280 Film Room. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Gideon.
I'm Miles.
And I'm Jordan.
And the Colorado Avalanche are currently in a wildcard spot in the playoffs. All I have to say at this present moment is I completely eat my words, and I hope they keep it up.
Yeah, I was all on board with the Avalanche trying to make the playoffs. I thought they should make a playoff push. I didn't think they would be in a playoff spot this soon. I thought it might come down to the last game of the year where they might make the playoffs.
Hey, undefeated over the last week, and the right teams lost that we needed to lose, and that put us in the final wild card position, but it's not over.
No.
They just
Things
have to
could
keep
still change.
capitalizing on it. And if they can do that, it's exciting. But there are still 8 games left, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But this past week, the Avalanche beat the Wild, they beat the Stars, and the Coyotes lost 3 in a row. So things just shifted drastically in terms of wild card seeding for our division.
Well, and Grubauer, he's been on fire over the last 2 weeks. So against the Stars, it was Ben Bishop and Grubauer who have been the 2 best goalies over the last 2 or 3 weeks, arguably. And Grubauer got the best of them.
He had, 44 saves?
Something like that, yeah. It was something
nuts.
ridiculous. Yeah, he's had 4 shutouts in his last, 7 games.
And all 4 have been this month.
Yeah. Which has been amazing.
Or I guess, actually, sorry, you said in the last 7 games,
Yeah.
right?
Because I think Varley started
4,
1 or 2.
But he hasn't had a shutout all season. Sorry.
He hasn't?
No.
Oh,
all of his shutouts
dang.
have come in
Wow.
March for Grubauer.
Dang.
See, and
that's crazy. I didn't know that.
That just blows my mind, because part of why I was very skeptical and hesitant about thinking the Avs should make a playoff push was because I wasn't sold on their ability to invest in playing their hearts out and just going for it and showing up on the ice and delivering. They haven't given us a whole lot of evidence that they were capable of that over the past several months. And something has just clicked and locked in, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. Did I say career? I meant just this season.
You said season.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
First you said the last month.
The last
and then
month.
Season.
Well, yeah. Well, I wasn't thinking or listening that you were saying over the last 7 games, but yeah, in my head, all of his shutouts for this season have come in the last month.
He's on fire.
Or the last 7 games, however you want to look at it. But
That's-
I just want to make sure I didn't say career.
No.
I'm like, wait a minute. No, he definitely has more than that
he's
in
pretty
his
young.
career.
That could be true. I don't know.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I think he has 10 or 12 on his career.
And I know it's a short time frame that he's been killing it, but with the way he's playing, he could be the goaltender of the future. That's why we traded for him. We were hoping he would be that guy to replace Varley.
He's stepping up in this crunch time now.
And that's, for me, what makes it exciting. It's not just that he's doing it, it's that he's doing it right now. When it really counts and everything's on the line, he's showing up.
It would have been nice for it to count, back in January, December.
Yeah.
That would have been lovely.
Yeah. Agreed.
But,
100%.
sometimes you need a little bit of push. And also, losing Landeskog definitely changed up the front line. Obviously goaltending's probably the most important part of a hockey game.
Oh, yeah.
But, the people that are handling the puck, that chemistry and those lines have changed, and I think everyone's still playing pretty well together, and we're putting up points, and we're not letting points be scored. So that's typically how you win, right?
Yeah.
Math.
Usually. They haven't scored a lot of goals, but they haven't given up really any goals.
Yeah.
And, Grubauer has been the game changer. And I think that if he can continue what he's doing and the Avs actually make the playoffs, having Grubauer as our goalie and then Varley as our backup when
Let him
Grubauer
rest
needs a
up.
break. Yeah, it's like that's an amazing situation to be in, where you have a veteran who can still play Varlamov.
Yeah.
Like that's the best situation for sure. And if they make the playoffs, Landeskog, hopefully he can come back for the first round.
Because he, like, when he went out, it was, what, 6 to 8 weeks? Or
I think it was
4 to
4 to
6.
6.
4 to 6? Okay.
Yeah. So we might miss the first round, which if the Avs make the playoffs,
If we're hot and we make the playoffs, like, do you throw Landeskog back in? Or do you just say, hey, you just rest, like, maybe next round?
Because him being out has seemed to be the kick in the ass. Like, the catalyst that has set a lot of other players, from a mental standpoint, to show up and go, okay, it's on you. Figure it out.
yeah.
Do you mess with that new chemistry?
And looking at it now, I think that Brassard trade was a really good trade. Because he's kind of filled Landeskog's shoes. Like, you can't... Or skates, I guess you should say.
Boots.
But, yeah. Filled his boots. I mean, you can't really replace Landeskog, but, like, he's got a... He's always around the puck. He's physical. Like, he's kind of filled the role that Landeskog always fills. So I think, looking at it now, that trade at the time... It was like, all right, that's a good trade. But I think with his leadership and how he plays, like, he plays a lot like Landeskog. And I think that's also been a reason why they're winning a lot. And Rannonen's been killing it. McKinnon, he's always amazing. So we'll see. And the secondary scoring has been a little bit better. So I don't know. They got 8 games left.
Coming up, it's very weird. We've got back-to-back games against the Blackhawks. So they play here in Denver tomorrow on Saturday, and then play away on Sunday. Those 2 games, I feel like, will be telling.
I think so. In a situation like that, it's usually split. So I could see them...
1-1.
Yeah, exactly. When you play back-to-back against
If
one
it goes
team.
2-0, 2-0 either way, that's a big swing towards what the rest of the season, how it's going to close out, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Well, where's Chicago on the standings? Like,
Let me check.
they're below us. They're 4 points behind us.
Gosh, yeah, they're 4 points behind us.
If they win both, like, that puts us in a really bad spot.
Then we're back to where we
like,
were last week.
I definitely agree with Jordan. Like, it's most likely, and the worst case scenario for the Avs is 1-1. I don't see them dropping one, especially going hot on a road trip and then coming home. They know the Avs fans that show up are going to be pumped.
Exactly.
Well, we're home and then go on the
That's
road.
what I'm saying.
Oh,
like,
okay.
we'll be able to win one, and then if we go to Chicago and lose, like, that's acceptable. Yeah, you can't win them all. You won't win them all.
No.
But at this point, you
go
kind
on a
of
3-4
have to
game.
maintain your new standing.
That's what. Yeah, I agree. But my point is, you can't go on. What is it? 3 or 4 games straight now.
3.
3.
And
Yeah.
it's all on the road, right? Or the last 2.
No,
on the
1
road.
at home, 2 on the road.
So the 2 on the road were against the Wild and the Stars.
Huge wins.
Those are huge
Huge
wins.
wins.
Those were must wins.
Now we're
and they
coming
won.
back home real quick. It's a day game on a Saturday. Bunch of kids are going to be showing up. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like family night or something. Emotional.
Family afternoon.
Yeah, family afternoon.
But Blackhawks fans travel so well. Like,
I don't care.
there's always like
I don't care.
60-40, like 60% Avalanche fans and 40% Blackhawk fans.
Although I wonder, it's a 1 o'clock game tomorrow. How many people have time to travel from Chicago to get here in time to go to a 1 o'clock?
I mean, that's
there's
2
some
o'clock in
crazy
Chicago.
people in this world.
Yeah. Especially people from
So
Chicago.
That's
I'm
true.
absolutely
That's very
positive
true.
that someone, individually, maybe more, is flying
Making
in
that
Saturday
trip
morning.
specifically.
And then they're like, it's a day game. Yeah, I'll fly in the morning.
And
go
then
to
I
the
can fly
Blackhawks
out
game,
by
and
9
fly out
p.m.
on the night. Yeah.
And then go to
Touche,
the Blackhawks.
sir.
And then go to the
Chicago.
Blackhawks game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You're right.
I'm
You're
sure
right.
there's some crazy fans out there that are definitely going to do that.
After those back-to-back Blackhawks games, the Avs will play the Golden Knights at home.
I would assume that's a loss. Gold Knights are legit. But
Okay.
it's at home. It's at home.
Now, then this is the game I'm very intrigued by. After that, on Friday, March 29th, they play the Coyotes at home.
Must win.
The Coyotes are a very big part of why the Avs are in a wild card position right now, because they lost 3 in a row.
And as of right now, we're still tied points-wise.
Yes, we are tied points-wise. We have the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So that game, we'll be curious to see where things stand at that point. But I feel like there's going to be some bad blood on the Coyotes' part of.
I mean, there's some punches thrown in the Wild and the Stars game. So if those are any kind of precursor to what the Coyotes are at, like, there's definitely going to be a fight or two. I'm not worried about a punch with some padded gloves, but some gloves might be dropped.
Yeah.
But that also depends on are the Yotes in a mental state to, like, we want to win, or are they like, man, fuck the season? I mean, screw this season.
Like, Gideon.
Bleep. Earmuffs. Post-mortem earmuffs. I don't know.
Well, that's a 4-point swing.
Do they have two games?
That's what makes
in
hockey
between?
so crazy. Is this whole the 2-point swing? A single game carries so much weight. It's unlike any other sport in that way. Like, one game can absolutely force the pendulum in the other direction.
Because there's a few games left after that, but if the Avalanche lose that,
after that, we've got Avs versus Blues at home, Avs versus Blues on the road, Avs versus Oilers at home, Avs versus Jets at home, Avs versus Sharks on the road.
It's a brutal schedule.
These are all challenging and extremely competitive matchups where I would say the Avs are decidedly the underdog in most of these scenarios. Which
agree.
might be a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
Being the underdog is sometimes exactly what it takes to get you to the playoffs. There is something to be said about fighting from behind.
And they squeaked in the playoffs last year and played a really good series against the Predators.
And I think how they started the season, other teams are aware that the Avalanche are a good team.
It's in
We're
there
not
somewhere.
one to lay down.
There's the ability.
Like, the biggest issue in the middle of the season was goaltending.
Yes.
And secondary scoring.
Yes.
Now we have our defensemen scoring and a little bit of secondary, like second, third line, at least points, assist or a goal here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But goaltending's been lights out to end the season. So I think that definitely catapults us as far as, I know earlier offline we were talking about power rankings in basketball. Like, I don't know if they do power rankings in the NHL or not. I assume they do.
They do, yeah.
Just based on how the Avs have been playing over the last week, I would have to assume that they've been catapulted, like, on a play level, like, almost above the wildcard teams.
Yeah, they would for sure. I would think they'd be in the top 15, I would think, in the league. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But for the first 2 months of the season, they were in the top, 4 every week.
They started so hot, and then things just fell off the rails so drastically. And they're getting things back on track at exactly the last minute, which is exciting and awesome as a fan, but it's also really stressful.
Oh, yeah.
And I will completely straight up admit, like, my harsh criticism of the Avs, they have proven me wrong. They have shown me that they can show up and deliver and fight. And I just didn't see that fight in them for so much of the middle part of this season, which is why I was discouraged. And they've been a different team for the past week and a half. If they can maintain that and improve upon that, not only maintain the fight, but also sharpen the skill and the game plan and the execution, there's no telling what can happen. But if those things fall off and they slip into the bad habits of that we saw so much of in the middle of the season, they're not going to be a wild card team.
Exactly. But I think it's going to come down to goaltending. Because Gruby, he can't play every game from here on out.
No.
Varley's going to have to play a couple games. And
I say let Varley take the Knights.
You think so?
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Like let Varlamov take the Blackhawks tomorrow on Saturday here at home.
Okay.
Let Grubauer go away. Give him 2-day break. And then he gets another 2-3 day break. Because he played all 3 of these last games, right?
Yes. Gruby,
So,
yeah.
I don't know, he's a butterfly goalie, right? Like, pretty much everyone's butterfly stance these days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
Varley and Gruby are.
It doesn't... I wouldn't say it's, like, taxing on the body, but when you're taking 40-plus shots on a
Like, you
regular
have to be
basis.
athletic.
Like,
to
you're
be
up
able to
and
do
down
that.
and up and down and up and down and over and over and over again. Like, man, that's difficult. Like, you might as well be deadlifting 1,000 pounds every day.
Right?
But I think that would be a solid game plan. Like, if Varlamov does great against the Hawks on Saturday, like, let him go back to back. And if we lose one, we lose one. Whatever. The Coyotes play 3 games between now and when we play them. So that's one extra game than we play. Or no, we play 3 games as well.
We do,
So
yeah.
I guess we definitely... I mean, I think the Knights are in a position where they might be okay losing to the Avs, especially as an away game. So that might be a give me for us. But if we can go 2-1 over Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday,
Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday.
Oh, they get a nice
They
little
get a
break.
2-day break, yeah.
Dang.
Between the second game against the Blackhawks
I
and
think
the
we're in a
Knights
good
at home.
spot if we only drop 1 out of the next 3 games.
I think they need to win all 3 and maintain some momentum.
Going
That
to
would be
6 games.
fantastic.
I mean,
I think that I'm afraid that if they lose speed even for 1 game, that their mental side
snowball.
of the game will crumble. That's what my concern is the mental side of things. That if they suffer a loss, they spiral.
well, then maybe they shouldn't be in the playoffs. Like, that should make you want to fight even more.
Because even
I
in the
didn't
playoffs,
say
like,
that. You said that.
You're going to probably lose 1. And if you're not okay with losing 1 and bouncing back, then you're going to end up dropping all 4.
And that's what makes me concerned is I don't have a sample size to trust their ability to bounce back in this high pressure situation.
Okay.
So looking at their schedule, I think they'll lose 1 to the Blackhawks. It's because it usually goes 1-1 when you play back to back.
And they're comparable
against the same
teams.
team. Yeah, the Golden Knights, they're just a much better team. And the Sharks in the last game of the season.
What about the Jets?
So 5 well, that's a division game. Those are always tough for either team.
Right.
I could see them playing a little bit harder
Luckily,
against
we're
the
at
Jets.
home against the Jets, but
Exactly. So I could see them going 5-3, which would give them
10 extra points.
Yeah, how many points do they have right now?
78.
Oh,
That put us
that
at
probably
88.
wouldn't be good enough. Like,
You wanna
90,
push for
90 is like the minimum typically to make the playoffs. Right?
So then what if 2 of those losses were in OT?
Oh, there we go.
Since
Kryptonite.
we've been
rules.
riding the overtime loss train all season,
Right?
might as well end the season with a couple overtime losses as well, right?
I get a point out of it.
Yeah. I'm
All right.
not a fan of overtime. If you make it to overtime, you win. You win.
I agree.
Yeah.
I understand why they did it.
Yeah.
Because if you made it to overtime, then you played hard enough to
Yeah,
earn
you
something.
get
But
something.
there's a winner and a loser.
We've won 2 overtime games, right? Or is it 3 now?
I think it's
just 2.
I think it's 2. 2-12.
That's not good.
No!
It's not good at all.
Not
Like,
good
if-
is such
if
a
you're an
polite way to
overtime-
put that.
If you're an overtime type team, you should, like, 50-50. At least put it up there. Like, we should be 7-7.
Should be the
as far as
minimum
overtime
bar.
matches.
Yeah.
And that
If we
gives
were in
us,
that
that gives us
situation-
5
Oh
extra
no, we would
points.
be securely
Yes.
and peacefully in the
Yes.
playoffs.
I
don't know
wouldn't say
about
peacefully.
Fair
Jeez.
enough. Wow. People owe some people some soda.
Oh, we just
But-
aged ourselves.
They would not be in this like mad scramble. Will they?
But
Won't they?
like as we
No.
know, like points, like
Points matter.
it's not like in the NBA where if you're 4.5 games behind, that's 4.5 games.
and if you
In
lose,
the
you drop a
NHL,
half.
if you're 4 games behind a team
Oh yeah, you're.
and you're playing them and you beat them, then you're equal to them. It's like you gotta cut the points in half. It's like those 5 points. That's really 2.5 games. It's not a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not a lot, but your math doesn't quite check out.
No.
Because you don't
Get in
have
there, like,
when you play the
wait a
same
minute.
team that you're like, let's say you're 4 points away, and you win against that team, you don't gain 4 points because they don't lose 2 points.
Exactly.
Okay.
They stay
you're
where
right.
they're at. You gain your 2 points, but they lose a game of capable point addition.
Yes.
You are correct.
Whereas in basketball or football, if you're playing that team, you gain a full game because by winning, you win a half game, and by them losing, they lose a half game. so that differential equates to a full game. But when you're playing other teams and you're worried about a singular team, like the Nuggets tonight, they won. We gained a half game on the Warriors. The Warriors didn't play tonight. But if the Warriors played tonight and won, and we won, we would still be a half game behind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, my math was wrong. Like, the point I was trying to make was the 4-point swing. I've had 2 beers and a shot tonight, excuse me.
But no, it's still
like,
just
they don't
important.
gain those, no matter what, like, whoever wins, it's a 4-point swing if you're playing that team. Because they can't get those 2 points. They can't get those, and you get those 2
point potential they lost.
All right, yeah.
But their point overall doesn't decrease.
No.
We'll be offering an online sports math tutorial starting next month. Sign up now.
$50 a person.
And a free t-shirt.
If you're lucky.
All that being said, go Avs. This has been a surprising week.
It's exciting.
I literally, like, every day I get up in the morning, and before I go to work, I play around on my phone, and I check the standings and everything. And it was yesterday morning I got up and was checking the Avs, and I was like, wait a minute. Things are awry. They are making progress. Check this morning. And I was like, all right, okay. Wow. I was super wrong. That makes me super happy. And let's see what happens. Like, it's going to be exciting to watch the Avs in these last 8 games. And I didn't think that was going to be the reality. I thought it was going to be done.
What I like
Wash
their
your
chances,
hands with it, move on.
Because they're riding the hot hands. Like, the Coyotes are on a downslope. The Stars have been killing it, except for last night when we killed them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, and the Wild, they've been on a downslope, too. So if I had to put my money on anybody to
Those
make that 8 seed...
Those are the 3 teams we needed
to
be on downslope.
Yeah.
It's a lot of really great timing.
Yes. So I would put my money on the Avs making the 8th seed over the Wild or the Coyotes.
Let's make it happen. I'm all about it.
I haven't been more invested in or interested in the Avs probably since, the last Stanley Cup. Like, was it 2001? Like, I played hockey in high school, but I wasn't necessarily, like, into, like, watching hockey and keeping up with what the pros were doing. It was just like, I'm doing this because it's fun and it gets me out and skating. But I wasn't too worried about the sport overall or where the Avs were going or where they were at. But now that, obviously we're doing the podcast and everything, but, like, it's exciting as a Denver fan. I know I've said that in numerous other podcasts regarding the Rockies and the Nuggets and the Broncos, but being a Denver fan and just accepting the teams as they are, like, all right, the Avs are good. I might not have been, like, super into them over the last 5 or 10 years, but they're my team. If I'm going to cheer for a hockey team, It's going to be for the Avs. I didn't pick up a Kings jersey out of nowhere a couple years ago. That's for sure. But at the end of the day, I'm really excited to see how their season's going to end. And even if they don't make the playoffs, we got the Senators pick. So we're looking at a great draft.
Yes, for sure.
And then next season, we got Cale Makar coming back. Or coming in. Not coming back. Just coming in.
Coming in. Fresh.
And, Connor Timmins. And probably that Senators pick.
Yeah. So we're going to be...
And let's get it
pretty
into
much
next
playoff
season.
favorites for next season, I feel like.
Yeah.
One, I think this is the first time in like 7 or 8 years that I think the Avs actually have a good team. Mm-hmm. Like the last year, like they barely made the playoffs, and like they were a fine team, but they were super young, didn't really have any experience. And then the last time before that, when they made the playoffs, which was Patrick Waugh's first year, like they didn't have a talented team, and it was like they just kind of rode the magic of like Patrick Waugh being the head coach. Like they got out of the first round of the playoffs.
That got gas quick.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Just like watching them, I was like, they're not that good, but they keep winning games. Like, it's impressive. So this is the first time in a long time that I think they actually have a good team, and they're going to get better next year.
Well, and I mean, we really are just so ridiculously lucky as Denver sports fans. Like, if you're a Colorado person, you love your teams, whether it's your main team you follow, depending on sport. We have so much to be interested in, and the Avs right now have definitely made things more interesting by putting themselves in a wild card spot and being a contender. And the Nuggets have officially clinched a playoff spot for this season. no matter what. They're in the playoffs, and they are just continuing to look so
Better.
smooth.
Better.
They just have so much swagger. I enjoy watching them play because it's like a dance almost. Like, it's just, they have such a symbiotic presence on the court as a team. The way they communicate non-verbally and move the ball around is entertaining. Even if you were not a sports fan, I feel like you could literally sit down and watch this game and go, those 5 humans are really communicating well without any words. That's fascinating.
9.
5 at a time, Gideon. 5 at a time.
No, but look at our depth is my point.
Yes, absolutely. And it's fascinating to me. Like, we obviously have the Joker, who is the star. He's
Big Honey.
He's just awesome. But the depth of the talent and the ability for any given player to step up and have a big game has been a consistent theme throughout this season.
Well, it's pretty interesting to look at. You know, we've got Malik Beasley and Monty Morris. Like, they're stepping up from last year. You know, they were very, very minimally involved with the team. And now they are, like, integral parts of our team. But then you take a player like Torrey Craig, who's completely undrafted. And, you know, I was watching the Wizards game last night, and I think it was it Steve Haskins, one of the commentators for Altitude. Haskins. Oh, man, I always forget his first name.
Scott Hastings.
Hastings.
Oh,
yes.
good job.
Same difference. Same difference. Steve Haskins. Hastings.
It's Scott Hastings.
Scott Hastings.
SH.
No, so Torrey Craig's D'ing up on Bradley Beal, and Hastings is like, I don't think Bradley Beal knows who Torrey Craig is. But he's like, he's going to find out tonight. And Torrey Craig, I don't want to say shut down Bradley Beal, but he is a shutdown defender, and he contained Bradley Beal.
Done.
And, you know, we made sure we got the win. And that we're going to face the Wizards here at home next week. But even tonight, we got a nice, easy win against the Knicks. And our second team, if you want to call it that, our backups got a lot of playing time and a lot of experience on, you know, what an NBA conditioning game is like. Because a lot of times these kids come in and they're playing, you know, 5 to 8 minutes at the end of the game, and it's all like garbage time.
Right.
But you're looking at, you know, I know Beasley and Morris and Craig have all gotten significant time, but like Wancho and Vanderbilt's starting to get a little bit more looks. But tonight was one of those evenings where it's like, all right, we're blowing out the team. What's Isaiah Thomas doing? And I think it's very clear now that Mike Malone's like, all right, IT, you are more of a detriment to our offense and our defense than you have to provide that'll make us a better team. And so he's better for us as a whole, being on the bench, being a voice in the locker room, and he's very likely not going to be here next year.
But I appreciate so much his energy and his focus, and he's invested on the sideline. I mean, he is emotionally reacting with every ebb and flow of the game. Like, he's not throwing a pity party. He's not having a temper tantrum. He's still going, I'm a part of this team, whether I'm on the court or not, because I'm not all the way back yet. Like, I'm not at full strength.
Absolutely, he is part of this team.
And I feel like he's giving so much more on the sidelines and in the locker room, like you said, Gideon, than he can on the court right now. And he's seemingly, at least from the perspective as a fan watching on TV, embracing that role of, I can't do what I need to do on the court, so I shouldn't be there. But I am going to capitalize on being the best contributor I can be as a teammate and as a guide and as a mentor. And I appreciate that a lot.
Well, I think that's a credit to him and the team as a whole.
And Malone.
Yeah. Well, because there's nobody on the team is like that superstar diva type.
Right.
Like, everybody
if anyone
gives
would
credit
be,
to
it would
everybody
be
else.
Jokic, which is just so completely
Well,
against
I
his
think if
nature
anybody-
as a person.
yeah.
He can't do
I mean,
it.
Barton had his superstar diva moment a couple years ago.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Where it's like, if it was going to be anybody, it would be him. But it's.
I think his injury
Nobody's
humbled
doing
him at the beginning of the season.
As they do.
And which is great
As
because now we are
injuries
entirely healthy.
level a lot
Everyone
of
knows
psychoses.
what they're capable of, but they all are aware that this is a team game. Mike Malone coaches the team as a whole, and he goes with the hot hand. If there is no hot hand and it's an even approach, then keep distributing the ball. But our main focus is keep them all moving, make smart passes, play good defense. And so far it's worked out all season, and we're a half game behind the Warriors, and people still want to discount us as being an elite squad.
One, like, they play such team basketball, which that's how it was, like, back in the 80s,
Right.
90s.
It's very
like,
nostalgic to watch. Like, there's just
Like,
so much...
It's not pretty, it's not flashy.
As much as I hate to use this word because I hear it in my workplace all the time and I make fun of it a lot, there's a lot of synergy happening on the Nuggets basketball court.
And how do you think that it's going to work out in the playoffs? Because we're in an era where you need the big three.
And that's all
And
people
that's-
care
that's
about.
We kind of do have a big three, though. Like, you got Jokic, Millsap, and pick one out of these next
Right.
three.
Murray.
But that's what's
Harris,
so great.
Barton.
That's what makes it not a big three. That's what makes it so flexible.
We've got like a big 8.
Yeah.
But like Plumlee, hands down, been the best backup center across the league.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like
yeah.
no other backup center has put up the numbers and effort that Plumlee's been doing. And he's a defender. He's getting a little bit more comfortable scoring the ball. But he moves, he passes. I've seen him do some like between the legs dribble, spin moves and stuff. Like, go get him, big man.
I have a question. So, how many games are left in the Nuggets season?
Like 10?
I'd say
11?
10 or 11?
I was thinking like 14.
49 and 22.
If you had to pick a player that you think is going
61,
to
11, yeah.
break out kind of or just kind of find their own limelight and succeed and bring success to this team, who would you pick?
As far as just lime,
For
Just-
playoffs
Just
or
a
like-
player through
like-
the rest of the regular season to kind of find their light and go, okay, look at me, I'm here.
Murray finds his consistency
Find this consistency. Okay.
because he can score. It's just 5 points or 35
25
points or 25.
He has a big swing in there between.
He's been a lot more consistent recently, though.
Well, I mean, against the Wizards, we had, I think, 5 or 6 players put up 15. Murray was right on the dot, 15. Jokic was right on the dot, 15.
Murray, I think, had 18 tonight.
Yeah,
Nice.
which is a solid outing. But for what Murray could become, what he's capable of,
He just seems like his
he's still young.
potential's
Kid's 21 years old. Like,
Yeah.
It's insane.
Which is crazy, but he's playing like he's 25 or 26.
Yes.
And he's
He
still
carries
learning.
himself
He's
with
learning
a
his
lot of
game, and you know, he's,
gravitas.
he's still very young, but he holds himself very maturely and ensuring that he's not doing stupid things off the court, because that has hurt the Nuggets over the past.
And I mean, not just the Nuggets, like major sports franchises
yes,
in general.
Any successful team has
Yeah.
had its hardships with individuals deciding to do stupid things.
Young people being
Yeah.
given too much power and money and
Absolutely.
going rogue.
And, you know, Murray is still obviously on his rookie contract, so it's not like he's raking in tens of millions of dollars or anything like that. But, you know, one of his biggest endorsements is with Express. I'm sure they're giving him at least a couple $1 million.
Really?
Yeah, he shows up like
I
Express
didn't
tailored
know
suit and stuff
that.
almost every game. That dude's looking fly. I'm
For
not gonna
me-
lie,
for
like,
me,
yeah,
when I think about Express,
might have
like all
bought
my
like a
memories
shirt
are
or
tied
some
to
pants from
walking
Express
through a
because
Park
of Jamal
Meadows in
Murray.
the 8th grade and being like, "Those are fancy guys. They're fancy."
Look good, feel good, play good.
If you had to pick one Nuggets player that you think's gonna have like a breakout moment in the rest of the regular season, who would it be?
I don't know if I would put it as far as like a breakout moment, but I definitely agree with Miles. Like, Murray has to be that guy to elevate the team.
You think in
To
order
a
for
next-
us to be successful in the playoffs, he needs to hit that?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Specifically,
So that's a
specifically
lot.
consistency.
That's a lot riding on him.
Gary Harris definitely flies under the radar,
That's
but
what
everyone
I
knows.
would. For me, I would
Gary
say
Harris
Gary
is a baller.
Harris.
Everyone knows that.
But I want him to be
He's not the leader mentality, though.
But he can, I think.
I think Jamal Murray is better suited for that leadership mentality.
But I think Gary Harris might bring something more unique to being a leader that would be a little bit more infectious and special, and I want that.
I think Gary Harris is the better sidekick.
The sidekicks do all the work.
Yeah.
If we watch any superhero movies
yeah.
ever.
What do you think Gary Harris has been doing over the last
Yeah.
Is
week?
he Robin?
3 and
Gary
D.
Harris Robin?
Gary Harris,
He plays that nitty gritty defense.
For me, Gary Harris is like my guy that I want to just see get a little bit of the attention and glory I think he deserves so much.
Like I would say Gary Harris is similar to how Klay Thompson is Steph Curry's sidekick. Obviously, 2 separate levels of play, but Jamal Murray is nowhere near the level of what Steph Curry is available to, but Gary Harris is definitely like getting to the same level as Klay Thompson.
I just don't think he needs to be a sidekick forever.
Well, then he's not. I mean, that's part of team basketball. Like we
Yeah.
don't
No,
want the
you're right,
Nuggets
you're
to
right,
be
you're right.
flashy and have that diva mentality.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Klay Thompson has held himself. He's flown under the radar. He's happy with being Steph's backup man,
Right-hand
even
man.
though Klay Thompson was putting his historic numbers up. You know,
Okay.
obviously Jamal Murray and Gary Harris have a long ways to go to get to the same level that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have attained. But I believe Gary Harris is a better talent right now than Jamal Murray, but I think Jamal Murray is a better and more capable leader for the entire team than Gary
Okay.
Harris is. Gary Harris is still going to be an integral part to our offense and especially our defense.
Yes.
But Jamal Murray is the one that handles the ball outside of Jokic. He dictates a lot of what happens on the offensive side.
Well, he's proven that he can take the ball and shoot it.
Absolutely.
And make it, or he can distribute it at a
But
rate.
like
He
Miles
just
said,
makes such smart decisions.
it needs to be more consistent.
Yeah.
I just,
Right.
on the very, very, very off chance Gary Harris ever listens to this, I want him to know, like, I see you. You're really, he's so good, and I feel like he's underappreciated, but maybe you're right, Gideon. It's kind of part of the chemistry of how the team needs to function to be successful.
Like if Gary
He's
Harris
just
wakes
kind of
up
my-
one morning
he's
and he
kind of my
decides like
favorite.
I'm gonna be the man, like give me the ball. Like maybe that is what we need, and Jamal Murray can swallow a little bit of pride and be like, all right, bro, like here's
Have
the
your
ball, have some fun. But there's definitely been moments throughout the season where Gary Harris has shined and put up a 30-point game. Jamal Murray has done the same. Also, Malik Beasley, Monty
Right.
Morris. Like I don't want to contribute one individual and like burdening them with like we're only going to be successful if you do this.
Well,
or
and I guess the concept
whatever.
of that kind of goes completely against why the Nuggets have been successful, so it was kind of a stupid question in the first
But
place.
no. I think it led to a good discussion as far as, obviously Jamal Murray needs to step up. He needs to make better decisions while he's ball handling and when he's deciding to shoot. Because there
Yeah.
are moments where he's like, I'm going to shoot. And it's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? And then there's other
You
times
see
where
the
you're like,
open guy.
shoot the ball!
Why are
But
you
it's
passing?
It's the same thing with Jokic. Like, he gets into a
Right, for
pass-first
sure.
mentality, and that can definitely hinder our team because if you're not ready to shoot, then it's not going to go in. If you hesitate, it's not going in.
Yep.
But that's why it's very beneficial for a team like this to have a player like Malik Beasley that's like, give me the ball, even if it's tipped or whatever. If it's in my hands, I'm ready. I'm ready
figure
to
it
shoot
out.
whenever. And Malik Beasley's going to put it up. And if he's got a lane, he's ready to cock it back and throw it down.
Heck yeah. Can I give my player?
Yes, I'd
Okay.
love you to.
Right. This isn't necessarily for the regular season. This is more for playoffs because he's been there. He's been in the playoffs, and I feel like this year he's had a lot of flashes of like who he used to be back in his heyday. Paul Millsap.
A milli.
Because he's shown that like he can be the old Millsap when he was truly awesome. And I feel like for the Nuggets especially, if he gets it going in the playoffs, you have two big men that are completely dominant.
Yeah.
Like, how do you defend that?
And then you can sub
How do
Plumlee
you game
in
plan for that, right?
with either of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And just trick people out, like completely screw with their heads.
And
Like,
Millsap has the
3
history
towers.
and
Right.
the age acuity of the game to be
I'm so
a natural
excited.
leader.
yeah,
As far as like, hey guys, this is what we need to do.
He's just been so inconsistent, just like Murray this year. I mean, you kind of know what to expect from Millsap. I mean, you're going to get, 8 to 10 rebounds, but it ranges between like 5 and 20 points.
Right.
So it's like if he could just be like 12 rebounds, 15 points a game. Like
that'd be
that's all we
great.
need.
I would love that line.
Exactly.
Oh, that sounds gorgeous.
I know. In the playoffs, like if he could do that, then I think
The Nuggets are
would
putting
be
up
so
120
dominant.
points a game every game.
Right? I know. And in this day and age, I mean that's not impossible.
No.
Yeah. So it's like I feel like if him and Jokic are on in the playoffs, having two completely dominant big men, that's a game changer in my mind.
Exciting.
Definitely hard to defend and hard to be on the offensive side because like the Nuggets have thrived entire season off of second chance points.
Yes.
And not just that, but like we are a force on the defensive rebounding side. Like they clear out the paint. But then if we miss shots, like we've got multiple people that are taking
Just
long range
right
shots.
there.
And long range shots equals long rebounds. But a lot of times we're mitigating those misses and they become short rebounds. And when you have those two big men clearing out the paint and getting offensive rebounds and people are crashing the boards, like Jamal Murray does a great job at following his shot, or if he passes it, he's cutting to the basket. Whether the pass is there or not, he always positions himself to get a rebound here and there, even on the offensive side. But Paul Millsap, Jokic, and Plumlee are definitely the driving factors of why our second chance opportunities are so high. And, Paul Millsap's definitely, I would say, the more athletic out of all those three.
Yeah.
For sure.
And also
For sure.
just so happens to be the most experienced in that position as well. So it's very good to be in this position as a Nuggets fan, and for our organization, like, we're super young. I would love to keep Millsap going into the future. I don't want to think too much past outside of these playoffs. I would love to see us make the Western Conference Finals. But if we don't make the Western Conference Finals, I definitely see Millsap going the wayward side. Not that I'm going to be
Depends
upset
how much
about it.
money he's gonna want, because he's making more like $30 million a year right now, something like that.
But no. So if the team picks up the option, we are on the books for him for like $34 million next year.
Oh,
Like it's set.
My
It's set.
goodness.
Yeah.
So we basically have to let him go into free agency, and then if someone else gives him an offer sheet, I think we can like restructure a new contract for him. But it has to like give another opportunity to other teams. And I'm sure when it comes down to money, someone else will be willing to cough up $30 million.
Oh yeah.
But I think for where our team is at and what Paul Millsap brings to the table, right now, he's playing what he's worth, what we're paying him this year. Last year, he was injured for most of the season, and we missed the playoffs. I would say mostly because Millsap played, 45 games or something like that?
I don't even know if it was half the season. But
Either way, we paid him $28 million to basically ride the bench injured. This year, he's shown us exactly what he can be, how dominant he can be on the floor. And if he continues this and stays healthy, then if we do make a good push in the playoffs, then he very well might be worth that $34 million next year, 32 and a half, whatever it is.
When is MPJ, is he a power forward or a small forward?
I would say technically a small forward,
Okay.
but he's, 6'9", 6'10", right, Miles?
Yeah.
Could he take Millsap's spot?
He's not heavy enough.
Okay.
It'd be very similar to what's going on in Golden State right now with Draymond Green and KD. Stature and position wise.
Because KD's taller, right? But
Draymond's
He's a
like
lot
heavier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
It'd be somewhat
Because
comparable.
Millsap, he's a big dude. I don't know how tall he is.
I think
but,
he's like 6'9",
he looks
like
like
240,
super beefy.
250.
Yeah.
Like, he's a solid dude.
Mm-hmm.
He might even be more than that. Either way, MPJ is going to come in next year as like a second line kind of guy. Like, our first line's set.
Oh yeah.
And if MPJ can come in and be like, I can be consistent and I am a force of nature and belong in the NBA, then he might make the first team. But that also, if Paul Millsap gets re-signed by the Nuggets, we pick up that team option. there's no way MPJ is making the first team or starting lineup.
With the way Millsap has played so far this year, I doubt he would be with the Nuggets. I don't know if he's performed up to his $30 million contract, but if he performs in the postseason, that could be different.
Right.
I agree. I entirely agree.
But they're officially in the playoffs.
Let's go Nuggets.
Yeah.
Avs are in the fight. Nuggets have a secure spot. And the Colorado Rockies are almost done with spring training and into the regular season. We are days away from actual real baseball being back. Thursday, March 28th. They kick off a 4-game series against the Marlins, immediately go into a 3-game series against the Rays, and then come home to the Mile High City to face off the Dodgers for our home opener. In spring training thus far, they're 11-14. Spring training win-loss, it's kind of...
Yeah.
It's very fluid.
It's like get into the rhythm of things.
Right. You can't take it
throw
too
80
seriously.
pitches.
You can't throw it completely away. Like, it is what it is. I can't wait for baseball to really be back, and we are so incredibly close. And the worst part of spring training is you have these games happening, and 5 of them are televised out of the 700 that it feels like there are.
I know.
So I don't feel like I know what's truly going on. Like, you have to just read stat sheets and kind of piece things together, which I'm bad at. So I asked Jordan to do that for us, to give us an update on kind of how the Rockies have looked in spring training, what we have to look forward to, what we need to be concerned about, etc., etc.
Well, spring training stats are bullshit.
They're just like, yeah. Right?
So, like, all right, so Ryan McMahon, he's definitely earned a roster spot, but he's batting .440 in spring training in 21 games.
They were comparing him to Trevor Story's rookie season spring training.
Right.
Like,
yes.
This might be showing or projecting McMahon to having, like, a breakout season.
Yes. Well, and he definitely earned a roster spot, but the thing, like, so Trevor Story, you bring up Trevor Story, he's batting .268. He'll be better than that in the regular season.
Absolutely.
The thing with spring training is it's a lot of, for the people that like Nolan Arenado and Trevor Story, it's like practice for them because they know they have a roster spot.
It's getting warmed up.
So it's like, so let's say last year Trevor Story, like, he pulled the ball a lot. He's a right-handed hitter, so he hit it to right field a lot, or left field a lot. So then his batting coach is like, all right, let's practice hitting it to the opposite side, hitting it to the right center field gap. So then he'll approach every at bat like, I'm gonna hit it to the opposite side of the field.
Right.
Like, he's not trying to hit a home run.
He's trying to do what he needs to work on.
Exactly. Like, he's working on his weakness, and it's the same with the pitching. Like, if you're like Cal Freeland, you know you have a starting spot, and you have a good fastball and a good changeup, but your slider's a little bit weak. I'm going to throw a slider every time. I'm going to perfect that.
That's what I have
so
to
it's
polish.
like, spring training stats, like, they're good for the players that are trying to make a roster spot, like Ryan McMahon, but it is very predictable. So I don't really look into spring training stats, but, I mean, he's hitting .440, which is really good.
And the starting players, what you're talking about, aren't playing what they usually would play.
No.
So their stats are significantly skewed, whether that's in the positive light or a negative light.
Yeah, so, like, Nolan's not trying to hit a home run at every at-bat.
Right.
He's trying to hit it to a specific part of the field because last year he struggled with that. Like, going the opposite way with a certain pitch. So, I mean, the Rockies, they're 11-14, which means nothing in spring training. But overall, I haven't seen John Gray pitch, but his stats have been really good. At least they're hitting.
For him, I would assume his goal is to be just consistent.
Just get back on track. So that's why I feel like there's certain stats that will resonate with me, and John Gray is literally the top of that list.
Right, and
I want to know how is he done in spring training.
So he has a 2.5 ERA,
Great.
which is phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. So I think, gosh, I mean, it's promising that McMahon is doing really well. I think he's kind of taken over DJ's spot at second base. I thought it would be Hampson that would take his spot.
What's going on with Hampson?
I mean, he's been fine, but He just doesn't really have any power
Okay.
at the plate. And that's, honestly, I think that's why we got
I
rid
just
of
prefer
DJ.
Hampson as a position player over McMahon.
I would too, as far as defense.
Yeah.
But in
He's
today's...
he's a lot cleaner and he's a lot
And
more
fielding
polished.
stats are a lot more intricate than like batting stats.
Right,
Like
for
batting
sure.
stats is like, all right, you swung, you missed, you swung, you hit, you made contact, whatever.
Right.
Fielding stats, it's like, when is the ball hit to you? Like, how many putouts do you have? Like, what errors did you make? And it's a little bit more than just like, obviously,
It's not cut
hitting a
and dry.
baseball is probably, I would say it's the hardest thing to do across all sports, but definitely one of the hardest actions in any sport action. Hitting a baseball is extremely difficult, but fielding baseballs are very, very difficult as well. And I think it's more difficult to gauging the capabilities of a defender on the baseball side than it is to see how a positional player is on the batting side.
Yeah.
Right, and I feel like as a defenseman in baseball, so much of it, it's just so nuanced. Like, it's hard to calculate. You're right. Like, there's so many different factors in place.
You got to be on your toes. You
But
don't even know if
have
the
it or
ball's going to
you-
be hit to
You
you.
have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you either have the freaking feeling, like, it's either, like, the tempo of the game is either vibrating through you and you're in it and you're on it and you get it, or you don't. And you can't really gauge that from stats. And that's what's so annoying about spring training is we can't watch anything.
Yeah, you can listen to it
Like,
on the
you
radio.
can listen to it on the radio and really hope your commentators are, like, genius
But you also don't
wordsmiths,
see, like if someone makes, like, a diving catch on a ground ball and gets the out at first. Like, well, how far did he dive?
You can't appreciate
Or
that without
is he
the
just, like, sliding
visual
on his
element
knees?
of
Like,
the television.
yeah, absolutely.
'Cause you don't get paid for your defense. In baseball.
well,
it's all about offense.
Yeah.
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 I would
It's all
say
about-
Nolan was getting paid for his defense,
Nolan's
whether
defense
he
is
was
just
hitting
next
well or
level
not. But
magic.
He's just
he
a
hits
phenom.
well as in addition to his
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal defense.
Like, you look at Bryce Harper, who his average was like 220 last year, but he hit like 35 home runs.
Yeah.
So we're in an era where DJ LeMahieu and Hampson, they're not that important because they don't have a lot of power.
As
Like, it's
LeMahieu
all about
laughs with
power.
his, $15 million contract with the Yankees?
Yeah.
Pop, pop, pop,
But he's
pop.
average.
We don't
like-
get paid.
Right. But he's averaged like 310 throughout his career
Yeah.
as far as batting average, but only 10
Yeah,
home
he
runs.
gets on base. He gets on base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But you look at somebody like Bryce Harper, who's 220, but he hits 35 home runs. And then he
Scoring
gets $35
points.
million a year. Yeah. So it's really about hitting doubles and hitting home runs. So I would like to see Hampson get a starting role somewhere, but his skills just aren't really fit into today's
That's
MLB.
fair.
Because getting on first isn't that important anymore. It's about
Anyone
getting
can get
second.
on first.
Exactly.
And if you get on first, you're probably not driving a run in. But if you get a double and you got a man on second,
Right.
you're getting
Right,
an
right.
RBI.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I think that's why Ryan McMahon, he's going to get the second baseman starting job, which he's earned it for sure. He has a lot of power. We'll see how he does this year. This will be his first full year in Major League Baseball. I don't expect a lot out of him, but we'll see. I think the team overall, it's going to be worse than last year.
Do you think we will hit 90 wins?
No. If I had predicted, I would say 88 wins.
So
Really?
we're right there. We're right there.
I'm
on your
going
prediction.
against you. I would say 92 wins.
I mean, they lost.
I was going to say
Right.
85.
So they lost Ottavino, they lost LeMahieu, they lost Cargo, they lost Para. And who would they gain? Daniel Murphy.
I'm not looking so much as let's not get into that. I'm not looking so much at who they lost or gained from a player perspective,
But who's gonna grow?
what was lost and gained through the learning process of last season. It was a special season. It was a trying season. It ended brutally. And there's absolutely no quantifying element you can put on what you glean from that kind of learning experience. I am excited to see what the players who were there for that and come back this season, like how that affects their game. I'm curious to see Trevor. I'm curious to see Ian Desmond. I'm curious to see, especially our pitching core.
Well, Nolan better play his best season he's ever
He has to
played.
because he was
He
such
may
a
have played his best
fumbling.
season ever.
That's what I'm scared of.
No, I don't believe that. He fell apart in the playoffs, and I don't think he was prepared for that. I think that he fully believed he was going to be some sort of machine and execute, and he didn't, and he crumbled. And I thoroughly believe that he is strong enough to learn from that.
Rockies.
But that's not saying much. That's not freaking saying much. But I genuinely believe that he's going to come back with a renewed sense of responsibility. That it is on him. And that's part of this whole new contract and this 3-year opt-out. You have this amount of time.
He said he wanted a championship.
So of bringing a championship to the Colorado Rockies.
But if you're not a pitcher, you really only have, 10% influence on a game?
So what are you saying about our pitchers?
I'm saying so Kyle Freeland, I don't think he's going to match what he did last year. What he did last year was
Anderson,
phenomenal.
bro.
If he can stay healthy, I think they're relying on John Gray to finally make that final step. Because they've been banking on that for the last couple years.
I feel like you're relying on John Gray to make that final step.
Well, why is he still a starting pitcher if they're not banking on that?
I think they're like, you're good enough to be a starting pitcher.
No,
I don't
but
think
he
they're
was
relying on him
supposed
the
to
way
be
you're
that
relying on him.
once in a lifetime kind of talent.
Oh, yeah. And he does have that talent.
At times.
It's just something.
I mean, he has the talent. He just has some serious mental
We need to
blocks.
find him a good therapist to just
he
really
needs to do
break
some
down
yoga,
what's
meditate.
I know. When he lost 20 pounds
Take an
last
improv
year,
class, John Gray.
I don't know.
Something's
There was
on.
something going on, and he's bulked up. And he's looked good in
He's
spring
mad.
training.
He's mad going into this year
Yeah.
too. He's mad at himself, and I think that there's absolutely no quantifiable amount you can put on a person's anger at their own failure. Nothing motivates a human more to succeed than their rage at their shortcomings in the past.
Yeah, so we know Kyle Freeland and Germán Marquez are going to be good this year. Because Kyle Freeland, he was phenomenal. Marquez, he was amazing at the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Anderson.
Can you whisper that one more time?
I'm calling it. Tyler Anderson.
See, Tyler Anderson, if he can just be
I think he's going to be under. I'm going to do a pre-season bold prediction for Tyler Anderson.
Dun, dun,
For
dun.
this entire season, I'm going to say he averages under a 4.0 ERA.
Okay, so we'll finish the season under
4.
Okay. How many
Where
games?
I think last year he was 4.5.
I'm not sure.
But
how many games is he going to start?
I would love to see him start 20 games.
20?
Yeah, I love that.
More than that.
I love it. But what did he?
Typical
What did
starting
he get?
pitcher is 35 to 40.
But what did he get
we
last
need
year?
him to be healthy.
18, 15.
He probably pitched 20 games.
Did he
I would
pitch
guess.
20 games?
Yeah, because he was healthy for
There's
about
some
half the
very
season.
much baseball.
I want to see 30 games out of him with less than 4 ERA.
I'd like to see 20 with a great whip, great ERA, 3.5 or under would be awesome.
That'd be amazing.
But if he pitched,
But
I have a feeling if they push him over 25 games, that ERA is going to shoot up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope he
I think
can
his
pitch
sweet
30
spot.
games.
I think his sweet spot's 18 to 22, and pitch as hard as you can, as methodically as you can, but make sure that you're not giving up multiple runs in a single inning.
Yes, agreed.
I can't tell you. Sorry, go.
Oh no, go ahead.
What?
No, I was going to go completely off track, so continue your thought.
Well, I think Anderson and Gray, they're the wild cards for the Rockies. Because the Rockies' offense, hopefully it's going to be better. It wasn't good last year.
It's going
But
to be better.
if the top 4 pitchers for the Rockies can be good, not even great, but good, then they'll have a good season. But I can't just bank on Gray and Anderson both having
I'm not
a
saying
good season.
bank
Okay.
on them.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think their offense is really going to be that great this
With
year.
everything that Bud Black has been able to do for this team in his short time with them so far, the strides that he has, especially on the pitching side of the game, taken this team forward, I completely, fully buy into his ability to continue that progress at the same exact rate. I just absolutely fully believe this is going to be one of the best seasons in the histories of the Colorado Rockies.
I hope so.
I don't know why.
Last year was.
I feel it in my gut. Like, I believe it. Last year was awesome. We were right there. And I think they were so pissed off about being right there and tasting it and seeing it and it being completely ripped from their hands because of their because of their inadequacies, because of their failures, because of their shortcomings. They were right there. They had the chance to take it. They had the chance to win it. And they failed themselves. It's different when someone takes it from you. You're right. That phrasing I used wasn't appropriate. When someone takes it from you, you feel a little vindictive. You feel like you've been robbed of something. But when you gave it up because you weren't playing your hardest, you weren't trying your best, you weren't mentally and physically present enough to achieve, that's what motivates people towards greatness in the future. And I think that's coming.
I mean, I think the pitching is going to be good.
I'm also a big Sappy cheese ball, and I don't care. I'm rolling with it.
Sounds like you're about to predict a 100-win season.
7,000 game season. I do. I'm going to predict I'm predicting 92 wins for this season.
Not 100.
Win the division or not?
Win the division. Take the Dodgers
down. 92 wins. Going to be the Dodgers with 92 wins.
95.
Go 96. Go 96.
95 beat the Dodgers.
Okay. This is going to be a tough division.
What day is it?
I do not like how
Darn it,
NL
it's already
West
March
is
22nd.
I mean, Machado's in the division now.
Like what? We've got Padres making big moves.
Padres will be better.
But we were
Giants
right there with the
always
Dodgers
doing
last year.
things,
We were
but then
one
it's like-
game off. They had 92 wins and we had 91.
But then the Diamondbacks always have our number.
I know.
Like
Diamondbacks I think they're going to take a downslide.
NL West, like just like last
It's March.
season,
I'm
it's
saying
going
we're
to
taking
be one of the top most competitive divisions in the MLB.
Most
I think
certainly. We don't even have to argue that. That's a fact.
Well, I mean, look at the NL North. Like they were equally as competitive as the NL West was last season.
Yeah. I just want to see, I don't care who it is, somebody just dethrone the Dodgers. It's been like 7 straight years that they've
It's
won
going
the
to be
division.
the Rockies. I'm telling you right
they
now,
have
it's
the
going to
best
be the
chance.
Rockies. It's going to be the Rockies. I'm going full balls out Philip Lindsay on this shit. And I am predicting months in advance something I have zero evidence of. And I am saying the Rockies are dethroning the Dodgers.
What makes them better than they were last year?
Desire. The freaking absolute pain and agony of losing because you didn't show up. I have been there, and there is absolutely no motivation, nothing that pushes the human spirit more forward towards success and greatness than failing because you did not live up to your own greatness.
Okay. I mean, when the season starts, like, I'm the ultimate Rockies optimist, so when the season starts, I'm sure I'll be like, 96 wins.
Yeah. Hold my beer. Hold my beer, Jordan. I will beat you.
I hope you're right. They just lost a lot of pieces, though. But they signed Nolan, which was huge. In the long run, that's going to be super important.
We didn't lose as much as we could have.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I feel like their window is about 3 or 4 years to win the World Series, so...
We're still right there.
I know. Right now is the time. I hope they make the playoffs again. I feel like they might miss out by a game or two. But it's baseball.
Let's just worry about
this
opening
is going
day.
to be a strenuous next 8 months in the Haynes household.
Right? Just been disappointed by them a lot in my life.
That's fair. You've been a Rockies fan a lot longer than I have. I've only got like
We've only been here for 25 years.
I've only got like 10 years. Jordan's been there all 25 years, though.
Yeah.
I've been there about 10.
At least we don't have a 100-year curse.
Right?
Yeah.
Only 25-year
Only
curse.
25. But is it a curse?
No.
It just hasn't happened.
We're
No.
growing.
The Red Sox were like legit cursed. And then they broke it.
And the Cubs.
And the Cubs.
Yeah.
Especially the Cubs.
Right. When the Red Sox, they traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees.
I mean, I'm
That's
sorry
brutal.
you got that coming then.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Hence the curse.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, we'll see what happens. It's once again, I sound like a broken record, but it's an exciting time to be a Denver sports fan.
Yes.
We got the Avs actually in the race. We've got the Nuggets clinched a spot. The Rockies are going to win the World Series.
We're going to be competitive.
And the Broncos are going to be a football team.
Broncos are the worst team in Denver. That's weird.
We'll see what happens.
Never happens.
We won't get into too much Bronco stuff today, but I did post on our Facebook the radio conversation between Emmanuel Sanders and D-Mac, Darren McKee, on 104.3 The Fan. Fascinating conversation. Highly recommend listening to it. Other than that, I don't think we have much Broncos news.
No, draft is next month.
I'm excited for the draft.
Hope they
we'll see
get a
how
quarterback.
things pan out.
But probably not.
Linebacker.
Thank you. Yes.
If it was one of the Devons, I'd be okay with that.
I want Devin White.
I don't know if he'll be there at 10 though. Devin Bush would probably be there at 10. If Devin White is there at 10, yes.
The
all day.
number of times I've heard Broncos fans say the phrase "one of the Devons" the past couple months, and that to me just sounds like a Disney Channel original movie. One of the Devons.
There's 2 Devons at middle linebacker.
I don't think either of them will be there, but we'll see.
And another Josh Allen.
Which is very confusing.
Not a
Right?
quarterback.
What position is he?
Edge.
Edge.
Yeah.
Endlessly confusing as I watch NFL Network in the morning. I'm like, Josh Allen. Aren't we done with him? He's already on the team.
No, the more important Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Elway's going to go defense again?
I
Like,
hope
do.
so.
I
I
do.
feel like
He
that would
never
be
hits on
smarter and more
offense.
strategic.
Well,
and-
he failed on offensive first-round draft picks over the last
Right? Garrett Bowles.
3 years.
Paxton
Paxton
Lynch.
Lynch.
Ugh.
Osweiler was early second round, but almost first round. So
Just
he's going
go
to go
defense.
defense. Yeah.
Please. For the sanity of Broncos country.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening in. We appreciate it endlessly. We will continue hitting you guys up with more Colorado sports news, and we hope you have an awesome weekend. Later.
Go Nuggies.
Peace.
Toodles.